Listen.
What's going on? Episode 2 of The Listen Show. And today I want to talk about texture. All the ideas in these next couple of shows, I want to build on some things. And I want them to all come together to create a bigger idea. And that's basically what I'm going for right now. Like I said in the last episode, I wrote a senior paper on these ideas. And what I realized now looking back at it is that what I didn't do well was really explain the minute things. My paper was so focused on the bigger picture. I feel like it didn't really make sense as much as I wanted it to, at least. It didn't make as much sense as I wanted it to because you didn't have the little details. So, with that being said, today is texture. It's texture/detail. What is texture? And what is texture in music? To me, texture in music is anything that is not contributing to the melodic or harmonic aspects of the music. I think of it as being more felt than heard. And usually texture is like a repeating pattern or something that doesn't change. When you think about minimalistic music, like the genre, they take a single idea and repeat it over and over again, and then they build upon that idea. Well, in other genres of music, you can take a loop, like a short percussive loop or a short melodic loop, and you can place it under your main groove and what you really want to stand out in the song, and it becomes texture. From a drummer's point of view, ghost notes are non-accented hits that really they fill in space and provide a little bit of energy through the rhythmic nature. Like I said, they're mostly syncopated. So like in Michael Jackson's Remember the Time, the main kick hits on the kick and snare is like a basic kick on 1 and 3 and snare on 2 and 4, like a boom, cut. But in between the kicks on 1 and 3, there are ghost notes. Like it's like a boom, da 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 boom, boom, do the boom, da 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 boom. So those unaccented notes between the kicks provide texture for the track, and it puts a little bit of energy in it, and it makes it not so basic and boring. If you want a great example of rhythmic texture, the most obvious rhythmic texture is in African music and Afro-Cuban music. I feel like in Afro-Cuban music, it might be easier to separate what is contributing to the main groove in the music and what is kind of more background. Because in African music, it is heavily layered and everything kind of locks together, but there is still a main groove that is felt. Now, aside from rhythmic texture, there can be melodic texture. And the best example of this is in Fantasia's When I See You. There is like a xylophone type of thing in the background that stays on one note the whole song. And that goes back to that minimalistic idea of something that doesn't change the whole song, But if it's in minimalistic music, they usually build upon that idea. But in Fantasia's When I See You, it kind of just stays in the background and it's kind of just there. Like I said, like it's just texture. So they stay on one note, and listen for the xylophone. It literally starts from the very beginning of the song. Everything that's texture is heavily syncopated, because if it wasn't, it would line up directly with the main hits. Because your main beat is going to hit on one, the kick is going to hit on one, unless you're just going for some like different type. And the snare is usually going to hit on either 2 and 4 or 3. Or really anywhere. The snare is more loose, but the kick is going to hit on those big beats. So someone who I feel has a mastery of texture is a producer / artist by the name of SpaceGhostPurrp. He puts like different crazy sounds like drills, jackhammers, and different effects synths in his music that provides a texture, and it also sets the energy of the track. Another person who everybody should know is Timberland. He has that main groove, then he usually takes him beatboxing or a percussive loop and he double times it and he puts it under the main groove, and it adds that texture and it sets the energy of it. I will put under the video a list of songs that I feel like master the concept of texture, and really listen for the main groove first, and then under that, in between that, there's different percussive ideas. That is the end of episode 2. I'm gonna try to make these short and to the point and not ramble on so much. But again, let me know what I can do better and hold me accountable.